People of the internet, how you doing? I am that King Guy, and today a film you may not have seen, unless you're into Non Fungible Tokens and Griftcoin. That's right, Total Cockzone presents Kevin Smith's NFT movie, Killroy, was here.
Blind the eyes that cannot see, make deaf the ears that cannot hear, close the mouth that cannot tell, and send the monster back to hell.
Back then his name was Roy Huggins. When he was your age, he already had a taste for blood.
Holy shit.
What is happening?
Nothing will stop Killroy if he wants to get you.
Oh, God.
You almost gave me a heart attack. I'm a middle-aged man who eats like shit and huffs floor cleaner all day.
Okay, tell me, do you have to do a big intro before we get into it, or do we just start off by going, I'm going
to start with that.
Movie.
I'll do like an intro anyway beforehand, and I'll introduce the guest when I come on after the music. So, hello, Mr. Kevin Ryan. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. What, you have an obey sign behind you?
Yes.
But it's like not even like, it's just very plain.
Yeah, just obey.
Yeah, it's not from anything. No, it's not.
It was a Christmas card from a friend.
Oh, do you know what? I don't mind the obey. I don't like those type because they're the ones that open. They're horizontal opening, right?
Yeah, all the ones he sent to me these days are like 3D, which are really impressive. I have no idea where he gets them from. But that was a couple of years back he gave me that one. So it's
that's quite nice.
Now. Yeah.
Wait, was this for anything, or was I know this isn't the point of the podcast? But was that for anything, or was it just? Did you say Christmas card? I
don't know. He sends me Christmas presents every year.
Ah,
he sends me a massive box of them. I don't send him anything now, but I rarely speak to him because he's a recluse and doesn't get in touch with me that often. But he sends me every year a massive box of Christmas presents, and it's really
that's quite nice.
Lovely. Yeah.
The one thing I tried to get off the ground with a few friends and it never took off, and I was really annoyed by it, was for a period of time I would stand by our fireplace and have Celine, like I would dictate, I'm the one speaking, so I would dictate a letter to Celine to write down. But I would do it in the style of like a 19th or 18th century like landlord who was afraid the women folk were uprising. And it would just be like a random letter I'd send to a friend being like, oh, I might have scurvy this month. I'll have to see. And I think everyone was like, why are you sending that? Where does this come from? And I was like, I want a letter back. Get into character.
So you just like writing letters to people randomly.
Well, I like
character.
But I don't like the writing part. So Celine was happy to write it. I didn't force her. I thought it would be funny, but nobody else did found it funny. And I had too much time in mind.
I'll give you my address when we're finished. And
that'd be lovely.
If you want.
Yeah, I'd have to get back into character.
We should bring that back, writing letters to people.
It'd be so nice. And we should definitely bring back, dictating letters to people. Standing beside. Do you know what it was? I was smoking at the time. And it was very nice to stand by the fireplace smoking, like mulling over your next words.
It was an elbow on the mantelpiece, holding a glass of whiskey.
Yeah. I think I had a glass of Coke or Fanta or something. But yeah, the same thing.
Not warm lilt.
What?
Warm lilt.
You can't. What do you mean? Why you were warm lilt? Is that a thing?
Wasn't that the joke you did in the show I did previously with you with like?
Oh, with Dara
years ago.
Yeah, what the hell was that about? Like in that? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that seems about right.
I thought it was a thing.
Warm lilt? No, that must have. I don't even think where I'd find that funny.
A couple of years ago now.
So, why did you send this movie to me? That's what I'm curious about. And
I can't remember.
Do you know?
I'm trying to remember. I know we met up in London. I said about having the film, having got it somehow, and said we should do it, and that was it. I think.
So I sat down and I said, Selena, I have this movie I want to watch. Do you want to watch it with me? And she went, what is it? And I went, oh, it's a movie by Kevin Smith. And she went, "Oh, all right." And I said, I think it's like one of those fun, enjoyable. It might be a bad movie, but we'll enjoy it. I don't know, but it's a Kevin Smith movie." And she went, "Oh, well, it can't really be bad. Like Kevin Smith is like I haven't watched all his things, for instance, but he's certainly like a capable like just person in like
Yeah.
man's a filmmaker, so it's not going to be awful." And I was like, "Yeah."
I mean, how many films of his have you seen recently? And how many has she seen?
See, recently, not in year. Remember, we're talking about like Clerks and what was the other one? The fucking Jay and Silent Bob. Like we're going on
Clerks
from years
more
ago.
Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jan
Chasing Amy and Dogma. Jesus. Yeah.
Zack and Miri Make a Porno, Jersey Girl, Cop Out.
Was Cop Out good? Because I feel when that's the one he was talking about Bruce Willis, he didn't have a great time in general on set.
Was fine.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not a Kevin Smith film, but it's fine.
Yes.
It's serviceable. You can put it on and watch it.
Yeah.
You get a couple of laughs out of it.
You don't. Yeah.
Because Tracy Morgan's in it and he's great. Bruce Willis is
him
again, yeah. Bruce Willis is fine as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a bad experience on set and
that just, yeah. And the thing is, he got more enjoyable then just as a natural born storyteller of telling stories of his life then as well.
Yeah, which led to his podcast, and then he did all the films based on the podcast stuff he did, like the stories he got, because he did Tusk.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen Tusk. That's the thing.
Tusk come from his fake story someone planted in a paper about a job application for someone living with someone else, but he wanted to treat him like a walrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sort of one. And then they did Yo-Go's, which is the only Kevin Smith film I've never finished.
It's that bad that
20
you would
minutes.
enjoy a bad movie, right?
Yeah, 20 minutes I was tapping out.
No, can't.
Even the ones after that, they did Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which was terrible.
Yes, yeah.
I think there's a few others. Red State's good. That's the Kevin Smith film, which isn't a Kevin Smith film. That's like a horror film.
Yeah.
That's really good. Ending's a bit of a dud, but the rest of the film's great.
Yeah.
What other ones he done recently? Clerks 3. There you go. Have you got to
I've
Clerks 2
definitely never
yet?
seen Clerks 3.
Seen Clerks 2?
Yeah, when way back when, yeah. But like Clerks 3, I can't even imagine how well that doesn't. It feels like you're really stretching thin that whole.
Do you want it spoiled? It's the ongoing joke with the show. I spoiled Clerks 3 for everybody.
Absolutely, fire away.
Dante dies at the end of it.
Oh, I wonder was that a? Oh, okay. Do you know what? Without knowing anything else about it, I'm on board with that. Just the idea that he went, I'm not doing any more.
It's very much a case of Kevin Smith looking back at Clerks 1 and redoing a lot of the stuff he did in that, 'cause it's Randall telling the story of his life, which essentially is Clerks.
Oh, yeah.
So they redo he's filming it in the Wikimart with all the characters coming back and doing stuff, and it's nice to watch. If you've watched the other two before it's really good. If you watch it on its own, it's not that great.
Yeah.
But if you're a Smith fan, it's a completionist thing, really, isn't it?
That's the thing, yeah. Like, that's why we were like, oh no, I haven't actually watched a Kevin Smith movie in a while. What, do you know, what's the deal with this NFT stuff? Why did he do that?
Okay, so this was originally, I think, written in 2014 with, it's supposed to be a Christmas-themed horror movie, written with Edumacation co-host on his podcast, Andy McElfresh.
Yes.
So they read it together. It's the only film Kevin Smith's co-written with someone.
Yeah.
Eventually got adapted into this because there was a Krampus movie come out roughly around the same time.
Yes. Okay.
They didn't want to sort of mix out with that.
Yeah.
I think he got put off filming for a little bit because he had other films to do. Like he's did Tusk and Yo-Go's and that kind of stuff. In 2019, I think they started filming. In February 2020, the film was set for release, obviously because of the COVID lockdowns. It got delayed.
Yeah.
I don't think they could sell it as a theatrical release. It got pushed back into 2021, and I think that was the case why they ended up selling it as a non-fungible token.
Right, because I'm sketchy on the details of exactly what a non-fungible token is, but I have
It
no interest in it.
was a grift,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's
essentially.
pretty much what I know. And I think when you look up Wikipedia on it, it just says in massive writing grift. And that's it. So you don't get much else. But
Yeah, it was sold by the Jan Silent Bob's crypto studio and released on the NFT minting platform, Legan, whatever fucking grifting platform it was. Yeah, there was 5,555 tokens, so there's that many versions of this film sold as an NFT. I'm not sure how much they cost. I purchased this for a total of $350.
yeah, nice, very nice. Yeah,
There
holding up value.
There's a decimal point in there,
Yeah.
right at the start.
All I remember from these NFTs was that Jimmy Fallon was really selling it hard, laughing at some monkey drawing that I think Paris Hilton had, who looked like she had never seen it before in her life. And she was meant to like act as if going, yeah, I've really invested into this. She's like, I have no idea what you're showing me.
Yeah, it made no sense. And the only people I knew who were trying to use them or buy them were people ripping artists off online, saying, "Oh, can I buy these artworks from you?" And you go, "Yeah, sure." And they go, "Oh, I want to pay this much in EF coin. I don't know, ETH coin, and you have to go on this site to mint them, and then you can sell them to us." And I'm like, "Look, mate, just give me 50 quid through PayPal. I'll give them to you. You can have them, do what you want. I don't care."
Yeah.
They're all
It
drawings.
seems so like inconvenient to get into all that in the first place. Like, what's the entry point for? Do you know what I love? Do you know the way that's a bit of a gimmick then as well? The whole like, oh, you can buy this movie as an NFT or whatever. But I do love the gimmick of do you remember years ago Alan Partridge, Steve Coogan had Mid Morning Matters?
I know. I keep meaning to listen to
series.
that stuff because he had so much stuff
Yeah,
past the series, and I've not actually listened to any of them.
and they were all I think they eventually just turned them into like half an hour long episodes where so the premise was that he was a morning talk show host at this point, and he's there with your man sidekick Simon. I can't remember what his name is, in the actor's name is, but he does a lot of stuff now with Alan Partridge. But the two of them are inside in the studio, and the camera is just facing them, and it's them just doing their morning show, right? And it was originally, I don't know where they came out of this, but you know the beer company Foster's, or the beer?
Yeah.
On Foster's website, you could just go onto their website and they had Alan Partridge Mid Morning Matters, like all these like 10-minute sketches that were just him doing this Mid Morning Matters that you just go on. That's where I watched the entire thing. They had just sponsored him to do it. And at the very start of the episode, they went, Mid Morning Matters, sponsored by Foster's, and then just that. And then eventually that became, they just slammed a load of the episodes together to make 30 minutes and went, there you go, series. And I was like, that is fantastic. I will drink Foster's forever. Whoever thought, let's bring back Alan Partridge for that. That was slightly better in this movie. Did you enjoy this movie?
No.
Yeah, no. But
It was just so. It felt so long, and it's only 60 minutes.
It is a bit, yeah. That's what yeah.
So I'll give the basic setup of the film. It's the synopsis is essentially a babysitter tells a little girl several terrifying stories about Killroy, a vicious killer behind the famous graffiti. You know, the graffiti with the big nose, made famous during the war. I have a little bit of history about that. There was a piece of graffiti the American GIs would write on things during World War II. Origin is unknown, possibly something to do with a spy that helped the Allies with information. And it was maybe just the GI that was called that. He wrote it down, and it just got copied everywhere. The carton that accompanied the graffiti, the large note peeking over the wall with his hands grabbing on over, which I remember when I was a kid, was actually British. This fellow was called Mr. Chad. So this film should really be called Mr. Chad.
Yeah. Giga Chad. Is that, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chad predates the Killroy graffiti by a year and was drawn all over the UK during the war, accompanied by the phrase, "What no milk, what no bread," a reference to rationing. And at some point the pieces just got combined and they will forever be associated now. It's actually engraved on the National World War II Memorial in Washington.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's the basic idea of the monster, or the basic design of the monster anyway. How he become the monster?
It's a bit. I think the problem with the movie is, and the reason why I liked it after, the more I think about it, the more I like it, because again, you can enjoy movies that don't quite fit perfectly.
Yeah, so bad is a good thing.
But do you know the way you can have any sort of story, and as long as the story or the world within that story kind of follows its own internal logic, then that's fine. Like, you can be the most ridiculous sort of premise, but as long as it follows it, that's fine, right? Like Demolition Man is ridiculous, but they all react and act in that world the way you kind of think you should. But like, I didn't get the idea of, okay, let's tell the story about Killroy. Oh, he went into the war, right? And then, like, he went into the war, and then he was captured, wasn't he? They explained that.
Yeah.
And then they said they found him, and he was after killing everyone. He was after killing everyone within 10 miles from every direction. And I was like, okay, that seems a waste of time. Why is he going in every direction?
Wouldn't he have won the war if that was the case?
And like, why would you go 10 miles that way and then go back 10 miles like, at some point you're just wandering around, but fine. And they were like, so they killed everyone. He killed all the soldiers, and I presume civilians, right? He must have killed some.
Wasn't he eating them as well? And
then they found him. He was eating one. He's at least cannibalized one person, probably more. But then they went, right, we'll put him into jail. And me and Celine had a discussion about it. We were like, honestly, if you showed up, and if we were in a war and you saw me and I was eating someone, and my first reaction is, oh, thank God, I've been in prison for months. This has been terrible. I'm starving. I've had to do this. You'd probably go, oh God, get him to a psychiatric unit. Like, he's seen things. War has changed him. But they probably met this Killroy fella, and he was like, yay. And they were like, put him in jail for a while. But I don't get how there was a fire then, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on these details.
Yeah, there was a fire. It was a psychiatric hospital we went into.
Ah, see, fair enough.
It wasn't a full prison. It was a psychiatric hospital which burned down, and somehow he turned into the monster.
I suspect he got stung by a bee, because I don't understand how the nose thing happened. Like, I get the skin and everything else, but why is because when they show him originally, he's a normal, good looking man, but then the nose thing just happened. Like, yeah,
that's like, so the logic of it doesn't particularly work. I mean, the setup's fine. It's like the anthology, Harley Quinn Smith doing the story to the kid, like horror stories to the kid. It's fine. But when she sets it up, it's explain that Killroy has a psychic bond with kids.
He likes some reason, because he was in Vietnam.
Yeah, he likes little kids. No explanation why.
By the way, I did like how when she's explaining it to the little girl, who's maybe 7, something like that. She says, "Hey, don't say his name. If you say his name, I think she explains if you say his name 3 times, he'll jump out at you."
She doesn't know. That's the thing. Doesn't explain.
Oh, does she not?
Why? Yeah, she doesn't say how many times. She just says, "Don't say his name."
She just says, "Don't say his name."
Again, it's the logic of it doesn't quite work. Yeah.
But then she goes, "Oh, I don't know. I forget exactly how she says this, but she basically says, "Oh, the guy before he became the monster went to war." I think the little girl goes, "Oh, World War II," and she's like, "No, Vietnam War." And then the little girl is like, "Okay." And then a minute later, when she's like, "Anyway, so he's going off killing the VC, and the VC capture him," and at no point does the little girl go, "Wait, what's the VC?" Like, she does not need to explain anything about that, which is fine. I have no issue with that. I like it. I don't get the issue with this man goes to war, cannibalize someone, therefore he's only interested in the little ones, not in any adult. Like, he just does.
Yeah, and if you say his name a certain amount of times, he will turn up.
Did you follow the logic of between the stories? Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so the first story you got is Sonny, which is about an ill child and a mum who used to live in the house down the road from where they live now, or where she's telling the story. And the kid's got Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah.
which is essentially the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Mm.
You know
And
that one?
I think this was our favorite short story, by the way, in the movie. I think we enjoyed this the most.
Yeah, it definitely needed a bit more to it. Because
The
it
others
does
were
kind
not
of just...
great.
This one just flew past really quickly, but
Yeah.
if you want to see that story told really well, just watch The Act. It's a mini-series show, Patricia Arquette and Joey King doing Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Dee Dee Blanchard, which is one of those weird stories played out on Facebook years ago, which I actually witnessed going on live as it happened.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a weird one. The first messages come up and they went into a group I was in. It's like, oh, right, okay. And you follow it on the Facebook comments.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she gets found, and then all the other stuff comes out, and you're like, ooh, that's
Yes.
interesting.
I do think, though, if you want to see that sort of story played out by an actress who would be perfect casting for Ursula in Little Mermaid, do you know the mother in this short story?
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of her acting, to be honest. But then whatever way I looked at her, I was like, look at it again and tell me if you don't see Ursula from The Little Mermaid. She is spot on. It's the role she's meant to play.
I think a lot of the actors are like local, theatre people. Because I think he's done on a real budget. So a lot of the people you recognise from Kevin Smith stuff, like Ralph Garman's in it, Jason Mewes is in it.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho's in it at the end, which...
That was a surprise for
to.
Celine. Because I looked at the cast because I was like, wait, is that his daughter again? And I was like, oh, it is, yeah.
I like the career trajectory from Yo-Hos. You have Harley Quinn Smith and Lily Rose Depp. And Lily Rose Depp is now in Nosferatu. Celebrated, kind of big actor. Harley Quinn Smith, this.
Yeah. And I saw Chris Jericho and I'll say nothing, and then when he appeared, Celine was like, "Are you?" And I was like, "Yep, he sure is." It's a treat for you.
I think he's got a film out soon on Shudder. Actually, if you've got that.
Who has
Chris Jericho called Dark Show? I think he's written it and directed it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't have it, but I will find it in a totally legal way.
Dark Show, Dark Match. I think it might be Dark Match.
I will definitely. Okay, is it? Wait, when you say dark match,
It is definitely wrestling based.
Perfect, even
It's
better.
like a battle to the death with wrestlers. So it looks like a cheesy 80s thing. It might work, but yeah, he's in that. I think he directs and writes it.
So do you know the first short we were saying? What was it called again?
Sunny.
Yeah. And do you know the bit? Did you have any issue with the story of it, the how it went through?
Well, it's what was it? Killroy is linked to the person who says his name. They belong to him, and then whoever kills the person who says his name is now answerable to Killroy. So Killroy goes after the people who kill the person who says his name.
I think, or maybe
if you say his name
took
3
this wrong.
times.
If you say, so she says, if you say his name 3, yeah, because she does the thing, you see it on camera where she puts up her finger once when she says his name, then twice, then 3 times.
Yeah.
But she also says, so she says, well, I've been getting poisoned by my mother, blah, blah, blah. But like slow, like only a minimal amount, so she doesn't like die. But if I take a lot of it, then I'll be dead. And she said, you know, if you like give your life over to Killroy and then you're killed, then Killroy will take the life of the person who killed that person because, hey, he's after losing a life. So then she says his name 3 times, and then she drinks that poison, and then she dies, and then he can show up, and then because she's after blaming the mother and all the townspeople for kind of like fucking her over, he goes on a rampage, and I'm like, okay, fine. I thought she was a bit older, but maybe she's young enough. She's very good. I did not like how the mother has been feeding her this poison through her special homebrewed tea, which is actually just tea with a load of deadly leaves in it or whatever. Plant.
Nightshade, I think it is, isn't it?
Nightshade or wolfsbane, I think was she calling it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, wolfsbane.
So you're like, okay, that's how she's doing it. And she leaves down a cup of tea with it to the daughter. And the daughter wakes up to a note beside the tea saying, drink your, and I can't remember a name they gave the flower, not wolfsbane, but it's something else, but I'll just call it wolfsbane for now. It was like, hey honey, make sure you drink all of your wolfsbane tea. And it was like, what? Okay. And then the daughter immediately gets on her laptop, types in like wolfsbane, and then goes to Google Images where it has different photos and it has a picture of a flower. And then she goes, blue flower poison, and then goes to Google image again and then finds out, like, that's how she learns. Not by using Google, only Google Images. And also, why is the mother telling her, drink your anthrax juice? Like,
yeah, he goes from like 5 minutes from introducing the characters to her finding out that she's been poisoned to finding out about Killroy off screen.
Oh, yeah, she did say that. She went, I learned through the internet. In some ways, she says this, I'm paraphrasing. I learned through the internet about this poison. And then I also learned about Killroy. And I'm like, what did she look afterwards? How to get revenged in the whatever area I live in? And someone went, Killroy on Google Images.
Yeah. So that was your favourite, yeah?
That was I thought that was the most, the tightest script. Surely this was just a first draft. I don't want to be unkind, but there's, a bit more time.
Next story, Miss Bowers. Actually, my favourite one.
Is this the teacher?
Yeah, there's a school teacher working with two annoying kids who are doing a school play.
Yeah.
The kids are then telling the teacher about Killroy, telling her that she shouldn't say his name.
Yeah,
I think this is
adult.
This is the bit with the there's like dialogue between them, which actually sounds like a Kevin Smith film.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you say his name 3 times, he comes. Oh, sounds like a guy I knew in college.
Yeah, which you cannot say to, like, these children are about 7 as well. And, like, she makes this reference twice. Like, she makes an inappropriate reference twice like
I'd rather be eaten. So would I.
Yeah.
Maybe by that Marky Mark monster.
And you're like, you shouldn't be allowed to say that.
But that's why I like it, because it's a Kevin Smith dialogue. It's like you get that from it.
Yeah.
That's probably what's my favourite bit. And it's like the tension builds a little bit better in this one.
Yeah, that's true.
But then the lore of it, again,
it doesn't follow, because this was my biggest issue with the whole entire movie. So at the start, we have the babysitter saying, "Hey, don't say his name or he'll come." He and then she is saying Killroy, right?
Yeah.
The whole time, and the little kid is saying, "Wait a minute, why can you say it and I can't?" And she said, "Oh, Killroy isn't interested in me; he's only interested in little kids." So you're like, "Oh God, this is going to be a terrifying villain." Then in the first short, the kid explains you have to say his name 3 times, and also if I say my name and I give my life over to him and you kill me, then your life he'll come after. Fine, there's a new rule we have for Killroy. He's after kids, but if they whatever. Then in this one they say, "Oh, adult teacher, don't say his name 3 times." And I was like, that adult teacher is older than the babysitter. That's not quite fitting. There's something weird there. But yes, sorry, go ahead. I'm keeping track of Killroy.
Yeah, it's not like she's doing the whole thing of like how you have to be a virgin or pure.
Yeah.
Because I think the teacher's probably had sex.
It
she
sounds
definitely alludes
like
to it.
has.
Yeah.
She keeps mentioning it inappropriately.
Yeah, so it's like not that rule in there. Because if that was dropped in there, you go, okay, that's fair enough. But then, because the kids aren't saying it.
No.
They're getting the teacher to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one kind of builds a little bit better. There's like a couple of fake outs.
Yeah.
Jason Mewes in it playing a school janitor, which made me want to watch Todd and the Book of Pure Evil again, because he plays a school janitor in that. Things I'd rather be watching.
I know this is a comedy. I really hated him walking out at some point going, "Always bet on Chet," and I'm like, "Oh, I know." I hate it. Maybe
I'm going to have to do a special series of like Jason Mewes films.
Yeah, long running series. Did you enjoy
Paris Hilton?
What? Which one was that?
He did a film with Paris Hilton once.
Oh, right.
Jason Mewes and Paris Hilton, romantic comedy.
Is she still doing movies?
Nah.
No, I think her time is up with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of the not twist, but what did you think of the end, I suppose, of that short then with the teacher?
Like you say, it's annoying because the law doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because if you want to explain it, I won't. But
I mean, we can spoil it because no one's going to watch this film.
they
You
should.
got to pay NFT money for it. It's hard enough to find. But yeah, the teacher essentially has a fake out thing where they're chasing the kids around because the kids are saying this, and it's like, oh yeah, they're just joking, and then it turns out that they were actually making her say the name Killroy. So Killroy takes her as a sacrifice, and they have to do it every year.
Yeah, because they say like, oh, Killroy comes along every year and kills a child. But these two kids figured out that if they get, like, essentially they swap out their lives for an adult, and that way they don't have to die. So you're like, okay, so now an adult can say it 3 times and they'll get killed. That's fine.
Yeah,
and Chest will clean up the
not
body
like
after.
Killroy's getting given the life to avenge.
No. The first short was, I'm avenging this life that was being submitted to me. You fucking assholes! I wanted that child's life. Now it's, oh, I've made a deal with these kids. I'll take the adults instead of them.
Yeah, it's not like the adult's bad.
No. He'll just take anything he can get.
Aside from like dirty jokes in front of the kids.
Yeah, that's probably a disciplinary matter. And again, this all started with the babysitter going, "Careful, child, Killroy will come for you." That's not a Kevin Smith line, but yeah. So far 2 in, Killroy is down with the kids in a nice way.
So third film, Father Pat, and this one really does not feel right because you've got Ralph Garman playing a priest who likes molesting kids.
Yeah, it's not great.
And he picks up some kids from a place, and they're illegal immigrants who are going to be taken back home with their parents, and he's just taking them out to go fishing. Essentially, it just turns out he's taken them to a motel to have a party, and it's just played like Father Ted levels of goofy with the priests, but it's with kids getting abused.
Yeah,
really doesn't fit.
Can I talk shit about the kids for a second?
Go for it.
Do you know the 2 kids who are mainly? I think there are 2 kids who are picked up by the awful man. They have faces that look like AI. I'm sorry, I know they're young, but like one of them looks like possibly he'd be related to if you ever see, what's his name, Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump's. He looks like a young version, or like a young AI model. Like they've said, we can continue his life forever through AI. And because they're probably one of the better actors in the entire thing, so I feel bad. But I had to get out after. I had to give out about that. This story also kind of adds and yet contradicts Killroy's lore.
Yeah, because you say his name 3 times in this one.
I think the kids say it 3 times, right?
Yeah, and he's the protector.
But now he's going to just protect them.
Yeah.
But that must mean, because in the story, what happens is the priest goes out with his buddies to get drunk and whatever, and he's going to come back to their motel room later and do evil shit.
Do his thing.
So, yeah. So when he leaves, he says, "Hey, you kids, go take a shower or something before I come back." And he goes. And then they sit down. They're like, "What are we going to do? We're trapped here. We can't get out. The room is locked, whatever." And they're like, we need to pray to this Killroy fella that we've been told about. And then it kind of cuts to later on when the priest comes back in, and he gives a really long-winded, and it feels it's just for him, speech about why he's justified in doing this. Like, oh, God would stop me if it was bad, whatever. And when he comes into the room, there's 2 beds there, like, motel room, but there's 2 tents, like, pitched on the beds, 2 small tents. And he's like, "Oh, you're camping already." And of course, when he looks into one of them, Killroy jumps out of the tent.
Yeah.
So what must have happened is the 2 kids sat there during the day and went, "We need to pray to someone. Let's pray to Killroy." They say his name 3 times. Killroy jumps, appears. And they say to him, "Hey, would you mind killing this guy instead of us? He's really evil." And Killroy went, because he doesn't speak. And then between the time in the day that they did that and nighttime when the priest shows back up, they had to pitch these tents. So did Killroy help them, or did he just sit there and wait, or go out for a while?
I mean, he was in Vietnam, so he probably knows to put up a tent.
Oh, very quickly. And then the other thing is, he sat in the tent for it could be hours. Can I also actually bring up something the 20 seconds into the bloody thing?
Go.
There's also an issue with when the movie starts. The mother who is the mother of the child who's about to be babysat, she's getting ready for a party or a date or something, I don't know. And it is like, it must be 2 o'clock in the day, 30 degrees outside. It is a gorgeous day. It is the greatest day Ireland will have had in the next 50 years. It is so nice out. And she's like, your babysitter will be here soon. And then it cuts to outside where the babysitter, Harley Quinn Smith, is in the car with her boyfriend. And the boyfriend pulls up in front of the house. And the babysitter says, come back in a half an hour when the child is asleep and I'll have the porch light on. Right? There is no way it's going to be dark. There's like, and then when she goes in, she's like, give me a half hour. And the boyfriend is like, oh, well, maybe I'll go over to some other girl's house and we'll have sex or something. And I'm like, but that's a half hour. Can you not wait? Like, it's a half fucking hour. This is madness. That's what I just have the issue with their whole time scale, because I don't know why she's telling the story about Killroy when she's trying to put the kid to sleep in a half hour.
Yeah, give it a longer time. Say like 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah, and it's the middle of the day. Like, this isn't nighttime. I don't know. Fair enough.
Right, so last story. Chris Jericho turns up. There's no like book ending.
A delight.
No Harley Quinn Smith interlude.
No, they kind of
go straight into it, and then he's the gator chaser, which is Chris Jericho doing his stereotypical redneck catching gay people.
Did you know it was about, like, he was a guy catching closeted gay people, I guess, and putting it on?
Yeah.
I genuinely thought it was alligators.
I thought it was more nonsense.
Oh, yeah, no, I genuinely thought, so I was like, oh, okay. I mean, you know, he's stereotypical, whatever, but...
Yeah, I mean, if it was like catching nonsense, maybe he gets out himself. But yeah, it's just him, and it's got the comment section next to it running alongside the viewer numbers in top corner. And the picture glitches, and it takes the comment section with it. And that's not how that works.
No, I don't understand the glitchy part, to be honest.
Yeah, but he's going for a big monologue, close-up camera, Chris Jericho, pretty much filmed on a camera phone.
Honestly, I loved it, and I quite enjoy Chris Jericho. I'm watching AEW, so you know I've seen him for the last few years on in wrestling terms, and I was like, screw it, he's going for it. It's not the greatest accent, but I'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I know he turns up in a couple of Kevin Smith films. I'm guessing they're mates now, but yeah, he does that. Gay person turns up for a hookup.
Yeah,
he outs him. That guy runs off, and then he keeps shouting, the gator chaser. Then spots a kid.
Oh, and camera. The kid was, he suspected, like, oh, this kid has been the one who was kidnapped recently. So, you know, like, it's a kind of a,
Then he gets it hit upside the head. And it turns out the kid's mother has hit him upside the head, and she ties him to a tree and tells him through the whole story of, last month you did this to my husband and he killed himself, and he was a lovely person. He just like confused and wanted to sort of hook up with someone, see what it was, experience it. And he got embarrassed with his whole community, lost his job, which is a damning indictment on the the whole thing. And then she throws some water on him that had sort of chicken.
It's like chicken water or something like that. Yeah, and it just got
And then he gets eaten by an alligator.
An alligator, yeah.
So how does that fit into Killroy?
See, this is what I can only imagine, because the mother walks back to the car to watch the live stream of Chris Jericho being eaten. And then I think she looks into the car and the daughter is there, like sleeping or something. But then Killroy comes along and then he knocks her out and he stabs her or whatever. But when she comes to, she's also now tied to the tree and he throws water, chicken water on her or whatever, and the alligator eats her. And I'm wondering, is it implied that the daughter called on Killroy because the daughter blames the mother for the dad dying? In a weird, like, I'm not saying the daughter's right, but
Yeah,
that's the only way that makes sense to me.
There's no one said his name. There's no
Oh,
reason
I mean,
to-
off screen in the car, she
Yeah.
was like, Killroy, Killroy, Killroy. And then, yeah, it didn't get, they needed to film more.
There's like a
tie
missing
that
chunk
up.
out of this thing. It just makes no sense. And like I say, the lore of it is it's gone from this to this to this to this.
And at no point, apparently, Killroy's dangerous to kids. He seems lovely. He seems an absolute protector. He seems adult. Yeah, seems to be the babysitter.
Yeah, we end up with a babysitter. Boyfriend turns up. She's convinced the little girl about it's Killroy at the door.
Because the boyfriend, she somehow had tracked his car to over on her phone over to another woman's house. So she's like, oh, he's cheating on me. So then when he
Have that in their
shows back
phones
up,
now, they can sort of track each other's phones.
nah, no. Fair enough though, if that's the way they work over there. Yeah, and then the daughter goes out to stab him, thinking it's Killroy, and she's like, "Wait a minute, you said this was Killroy." By the way, that babysitter has mentioned Killroy about 8 times at this point, like said his name, and he hadn't shown up. But he does show up after the boyfriend dies and slashes at and kills.
In a really unimpressive kill.
Yeah, very
There's no
lazy.
satisfaction in that. It's like
No.
just machete into the face, and it's not even an impressive special effect. It's like,
No.
and then he walks off with the kid.
Yeah, he just walks into the forest, and I'm not sure, like, all right. That's why I think it's a first draft. Like, come on. Like, you could make something of that. You iron out the, like, the things that aren't quite, like, stacking up. Like, why is he making deals with some people? Why does he need 2 kids to get the adult to say his name 3 times? But in other stories, they don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like they've got people in locally to do the acting, and I think maybe the writing's done by them as well. Maybe they give them like a spec and go, right, we need this, this, and this, and they've just done their own thing, and they just linked them together.
Quick glance over might go. Just change. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only
Yeah,
reason
great
I
movie.
can see why they're all over the place. But yeah, it's. Would you recommend if people could find it?
Absolutely. I would absolutely 100% recommend it. I thought it was delightful.
Are
And
you,
it
are you
makes you
joking
think.
or being honest?
I am being no. I will say it's a bad movie, but if you do watch movies and you're happy to watch them, because there's nothing wrong with bad movies, right? I think it was like enjoyably bad enough to watch. I'm not saying it's prime Steven Seagal levels of bad, but it's not a movie where you're like, oh, I'm feeling nothing. And at the end of the day, that's what entertainment's about, feelings.
Yeah, I think I at least finished it.
Exactly.
Even if I wasn't doing a podcast, I probably would have finished it, which is more like I say for yoga hosers.
And I put a lot more thought into the antagonist / protagonist Killroy than I do in most characters.
Where can we find you online, if at all?
You can find me online on Blue Sky and Instagram. I will say TikTok, but not really, and Facebook, not really. But it would be at Kevin Person. Would be on those places, or Tyrant and Training Podcast, which also has a website, Tyrant and Training Podcast at podcastpage.io, or just Tyrant and Training Podcast would find that. And yeah, you find me on that podcast every Thursday.
Excellent. Thank you for coming on and enjoying the film.
Thank you very much for showing me it. Wonderful film.
And my stuff you can find at totalcultzone.com. That's totalcultzone.com with stuff on it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Big thank you to today's guest, Kevin Ryan. Unfortunately, the end there, it was a bit rushed because he had to go and do something, and the recording session got cut a little bit short. It did mean I didn't get around to doing all the answers to the question I asked online about everyone's favourite and least favourite Kevin Smith film. So thank you, Rob Jones, giving us your one, which is he still loves them all. mostly. Dogma and Chase Navy in the top spot. Really love Red State because it's not a Kevin Smith film, and love Zack and Miri because Elizabeth Banks. We do love a bit of granny panties here. He doesn't ever need to watch Jay and Silent Bob reboot again, and hasn't seen Yoga Hosers. I suggest he doesn't. Stig from Modern Escapism. Favourite Dogma? Least favourite was Musk. I think he means Tusk, but he's got Musk on the mind, and a lot of people do. What a cunt. Oodles from Modern Escapism as well says Dogma 100%. Also said Jersey Girl is nowhere near as bad as people make out, which I'm on board with. Jersey Girl got a lot of hate when it came out, and thankfully Kevin Smith is doing a tour now with the director's cut in cinemas, which hopefully will come out soon, because it's one of those films which could benefit from more J-Lo. And we have Doom Generation Podcast said favourite was More Rats and least favourite was Jan Silent Bob Strike Back. But they haven't watched his films in forever, and high school was the Kevin Smith era, which is another part of the question I asked, which is, when did you like them? I think a lot of people have a period of time when they do like his films. Stig actually said that his favourite films were when he was in his late teens, early 20s, which would have been like Clerks, More Rats, that kind of stuff. But finally on the questions, Call the Mark of Greatness, Joe, who will be on next show, still thinks Clerks is a masterpiece. He doesn't need to see Jay and Silent Bob ever again. The reboot, that is. Which, yeah, I agree. I watched that, and I don't need to go back. Big thank you to everyone that contributed there. I'll be doing more Kevin Smith films down the line, probably, for some reason. I don't know why. He was just a big part of the zeitgeist when I was growing up, and his films I will always watch. It's a bit like Adam Sandler for some people. He keeps coming out and they're disappointing, and you watch them with the hope that they get better. And occasionally they do get slightly better. I doubt they'll ever be at the same level as Clerks and More Rats and Chasing Amy ever again, but we live in hope, and he always has the great message of you should go out there and create, which you've got to appreciate. He's doing some good. Anyway, snooch to the motherfucking nooch.